everyone, my name is Kristen and we are here in the Angler Art Studio. Today is a very special workshop Wednesday for 3 reasons. One, it is our very first live workshop Wednesday. We are going to be creating a Max Vityk warrior of light. I'll be explaining that a little bit further today. Our second reason today is because it is the IMAS Day of Giving. We are trying to reach our goal of 100 donations today. And 3, we are excited to announce that Workshop Wednesdays are being supported this year by a grant from HED Helping Here. So to go further in depth, we are going to be creating kind of these little warriors here that goes in representation with Max Vityk. And so Max Vityk is an artist who does a lot of these warriors. He has done a lot of mixed media works. They're very large as well. So this one was mine. I created a little example. Mine went into representation with nature. So here you have a lot of leaves around the head. We have some water dripping down onto these flower stickers. So mainly it's going to be a lot of 3D work pieces. So we have some pom-poms as well, some buttons. So our supplies here that we have, our main ones, we're going to be using a cardboard piece, a fairly large piece. We are also going to be using construction paper. I have with me 4 colors, so red, orange, purple, and yellow. I may not be using all of them, and that's okay. I'm going to be shredding some of these pieces. We are also going to be using some glue. We need a bowl to hold some water in. I do have a cup of water with me here. We won't be needing that much water. Don't want to dilute the glue that much. We have some buttons here. We're also going to be using oil pastels because Max Vityk heavily uses oil pastels. With me I have acrylic paint, mainly black, a palette to hold the paints, a small paintbrush, some sequins, also some glitter sand, pom-poms. We have some large ones, some small ones, medium ones, and then we also have glitter glue and various other types of glitter. So really you can use any type of material that you have at home sitting around, basically using crafts, and we are going to be creating these little warriors. So in this example that my helper Selena made, she made her warrior sitting down on a chicken. Very, very cute. She drew some flowers, some jewels on his head, various symbols that we're going to be also incorporating in our pieces. So our very first thing that we need to do, we're going to grab any color sheet of paper. You can tear these pieces up very small or very large. We're just going to go ahead and tear these guys. We're going to tear them and then we're going to set them aside, and then we'll be gluing them. Do you want to get a better angle?
Right now it's fine.
So I'm going to be using mainly yellow. And I think I'll be incorporating some reds, have some of the warm colors in there. So for me, to not take up too much time, I'm gonna have some fairly large pieces. And this is just gonna be our background because in these examples we have very bright backgrounds, so that way we can see our warriors contrast and pop out. And have that effect where you can see them. So when we put down the glue in our bottle or in our bowl, we're going to be using a fairly decent amount. So I'm gonna cap it, and we're going to be using about this much. And then we're going to be pouring in very little water. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna mix it, and that is gonna help us glue down our paper. So we're gonna mix it, kind of get it like a sticky water. And so once that is done, you can kind of go, if you want, you can wet the whole thing all at once, or you can go section by section. And then glue your paper. It's kind of like a paper mache piece that we're going to be creating, but instead of having a balloon on the inside, it's a cardboard piece to maintain that structure of sturdiness. Alright, so at the IMAS we have Max Vityk pieces of works being displayed in our galleries, and there are 12 very large pieces. He was actually born in Ukraine, so he's a Ukrainian American artist. He was born in the 60s, so 1964, around there. So he's still alive. He is around 56. And basically, his pieces, the Warriors of Light, they represented the paths that people were on, and the changes that were happening in his country and his home country. So 6 pieces were created in Ukraine, and he eventually moved to Egypt, and he created the other 6 pieces for the Warriors of Light. And eventually he put in a lot of symbolism. So in some pieces he would have put in, let's say, army tanks, and other pieces would have flowers and peace symbols, some yin yang, some suns in there. Mainly his large pieces also created a, he used foam, he also used acrylic, he also used oil pastels. He used a lot of different mediums to create these pieces. So when you're actually looking at these pieces in person, you have to kind of stand back because they're around 10 feet tall. So almost touching the ceiling and the floor together.
All right, for anybody who's watching, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Yeah, let me know if you're at home and you're taking a break from school, or if you're a parent and you're interested in the arts. Have you ever visited the IMAS? Let me know. We are still open. We do have different hours of operation though. Our new hours of operations have changed to 10 to 1, and then we close for 1 hour for a cleaning period, and then we reopen from 2 to 5, and that is from Thursday through Saturday, and Wednesdays we are open 9 to 1?
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
Yeah.
There we go.
And Wednesdays, for anyone who's interested, is sensory-friendly days for all visitors.
Alright, so I need more paper. Maybe I'll incorporate some orange actually. So really this shouldn't take that long to dry if you used very little water. Because the glue itself, it dries it within like a couple of minutes. When I had first started out doing this project, kind of did a little experimentation with how much water should be used, and we figured that too much water took too much time to dry, so more glue, less water. But yes, these warriors have a lot of symbolism within them. So that's what we're going to be kind of creating. So I'm going to be recreating my little example that I made, just so I can make it a different way, but it still has the same meaning within. So when you're creating these pieces, think about what kind of thing you're wanting to portray. Maybe something impacted you this year and you want to portray that. I know a lot of us are stuck at home, so maybe you could portray yourself being in a home. You could also portray yourself doing school, virtually. Small things like that. Okay, I am almost done. I think I need one more piece to glue, and then we'll get started with applying or drawing out our warrior. So again, it's like paper mache. You have a balloon in the center, and then you're applying these small pieces and layering them. Okay, so this is pretty much done. And so if you didn't want to take too much time, you can cut them out into large pieces like I did, or you can cut them out in smaller pieces, have it more detailed and textured example or warrior background. So really, I'm gonna let this dry a little bit more because I can see that it's a little wet, and I'm gonna take you through one of the books that I have with me. So this is Max Vityk. And so this book is The Warrior of Lights. And so some of these pieces have a lot of symbolism. We can see there's a lot of texture on this piece. And what the texture is, it makes it kind of look bumpy. One of his main mediums is foam. So he uses that, and it creates this bumpy texture. And then he goes around it, creating all of these shapes and lines. We can see that this is a face right here. So we have two eyes, and then we have a mouth. It kind of looks like a sun, but it's not really yellow. And then we also have another warrior. I believe that this is a goat. So we have some eyes here. This would be like a sword, some floral patterns. Again, a lot of this is dealing with the elements of art, and there's 7. But the majority would be lines and texture, background and foreground, contrast. So a lot of his work is very dark, and it's also very bright at the same time. So one of these pieces is a large shot of this piece actually. I think it's one of my favorites. There's a moon back here. You can see him holding this trident-like thing. He also has the body of a horse, which is super cute. see that there's a lot of symbology here too. So we have some palm trees down here, some writings. We can see that there's some lizards as well on the sides, spirals. Again, more lines, more shapes, texture. And this piece we actually have here at the IMAS. It's super large, literally from ceiling to floor. It's really beautiful. The closer you get, the more you can see that it has a lot of the symbology as well. This, for me, I feel like it's our planets and it's revolving around our sun. I think this piece was meant to represent peace and love from the time he spent in Egypt. And so you can see that a lot of his works are almost similar, but very distinct. We also have this piece as well here in our gallery. Again, this piece represents the love and peace that he felt or saw within his stay at Egypt. And so he's a closer shot. And then we also have Cleed. This guy kind of went off or was inspired by Max Vityk, and so his works are not too dissimilar. So he's also following the elements of art of lines and texture and patterns and contrast. And with each of his works on the side, he also has a story written down for it. So for this one, the landscape with yellow birds is what he titled this one. And so he's highlighted the major components of the piece. So there's plants and leaves and yellow birds. So yeah, he was inspired by Max Vityk, so a lot of his work represents or is similar to his. Majority of this piece is done. We are going to get started with a sketch. We're going to be using our oil pastels. Now these guys, if they don't have a wrapper around them, you're going to get your fingers kind of dirty, and that's okay. You can wash your hands after. But these guys are very opaque, meaning that they are heavily dark in general. So these guys, if you want to wrap a piece of paper around them, that way you won't get your hands too dirty, that is totally fine. So I'm going to put my example next to me, and I'm going to continue a similar pattern of what we're going to be doing. I'll have my helpers transition the camera so they can get a closer view of how we're going to be doing this. So essentially, instead of creating my original pattern, I'm going to create something entirely different but with the same concept. So I did see that Max Vityk had a full figure, so we can try creating that. Here, let me turn this upside down. And so really, if you want to start drawing it lightly how you would with a pencil, if you've ever drawn, we can start out with a light sketch. Just a general shape of what we're going to be using. So we have the circle for a head, and this doesn't have to be entirely proportional. And what proportional means, it means correct in every way where it looks like it belongs there. So we're going to be creating something unproportional, which means it's not gonna look like an actual person. Maybe it'll look how Max Vityk did one of his pieces, half human, half horse. So this would be kind of like his neck following his body.
It's still going. Sorry about that. Everyone got a little bit of entertainment there.
So Max Vityk, one of his pieces was half human, half horse. So I'm going to mimic that piece. So I'll have the horse head over here. And we're just gonna be going at it kind of like a cave drawing in essence. And so or maybe I kind of want him to be like a cowboy. That'd be cool. It'll be kind of like the example that I showed you, like my helper Selena did, where she had hers riding a chicken. I'll probably have mine riding a horse. But it doesn't look like a horse, and that's okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
If someone doesn't have pastels at home, what would be some good alternate supplies?
Alternate supplies, you could use markers, colored pencils, paint if you'd like, pens. Yeah, there's a lot of alternative materials that you can use that if you don't have, it's just totally fine. You can get creative and use any material that you'd like. So I have mine here, and then once we have our general outline or sketch done, you can start darkening it, and that'll get a refinement or a cleaner image of what you were trying to sketch. And if your paper starts lifting or tearing, that's totally fine. It happens when the paper is too wet. So I just made a cleaner line. I am going to be using kind of like a turquoise color for the eyes. So I'm going to be following the same eye pattern that I have. And then putting yellow within the center, just like this. And then coloring all around it. And then switching up colors. I'll have kind of like a peach or a pale orange, actually. It says the color on the bottom. And then I'll have a ultramarine blue. So I use this on my example. And I'm going to be switching it around, so I'll be doing the square as light orange or pale orange, and then the circle as the ultramarine blue. So the square. And again, you're going to want to be thinking about symbology, what these shapes mean to you, what they mean, what could they be your favorite shape?
Are they your parents' favorite shape? And if you do have a favorite shape, please let me know. I would love to know about your favorite shapes. And then I'm going to be using another blue, but this one is Prussian for the mouth. And so this blue is more deeper, it's more richer in color. And then we'll be going back with our original oil pastel. We're gonna keep refining this. If you feel like your paper is coming off too much, you can go back in and get the glue, very little, and apply it back on the paper, and spread it out with your finger.
All right, for those that are just joining or maybe joining right now, we are celebrating here at the IMAS our Day of Giving. And we are celebrating this morning with our first live workshop Wednesday with educator Kristen.
Hi, everyone.
And this workshop, by the way, again, if you're just joining, we are working on mixed media art. And we are making, or Kristen here is making, a warrior that is inspired by Max Vityk. Max Vityk is an artist we do have here on display in our galleries. And he does do a lot of mixed media work. So we are celebrating with him today as our inspiration. And we will be doing our next workshop Wednesday on October 28th. We will be doing Papel Picado.
Oh, yes. Let me show you guys an example of what we're going to be creating. So there's going to be 3 examples being made. One's going to be more for the smaller kids, and then the others for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, because there's a lot of folding and cutting involved. But this is one of the examples I made on tissue paper, and this is the more preferred paper that you'll be using for Papel Picado. And again, we're going to be doing that on October 28th, and I hope you guys join because it'll be super duper fun. Okay, so I'm going and refining more of my sketch. It doesn't have to be accurate, just a general depiction of what, or an outline. Maybe mine's more of a donkey. Does it look like a donkey? Let me know in the comments.
I think it looks like a donkey.
Maybe my warrior was too heavy and that's why it's like... Awesome, okay. So I'm gonna leave this to the side so I won't lose what color I was using for the darkening of the sketch. I'm going to go in and start using different materials. So here we can start using glitter glue. I'm going to use a pinkish red. I think it is a red. So this is glitter glue. If you don't have this, maybe you have glitter in general. You can apply some of that, the water with the glue, and then apply the glitter on top. But it'll get messy if you do that. So I'm gonna be doing like this little farmer hat on him. And we can leave it without the anything on the inside. I'm going to be using green this time, and because he is a cowboy and he's always out in the open, I'm going to be using the green. I'm putting some leaf underneath his hat. Just like this. 2 little leaves. Okay. Also, if you don't have glitter glue, you can use, again, your markers, your colored pencils to fill it in. Now I'm gonna start with the buttons. I do have a button on my eye, so I'm gonna follow that. I'm gonna keep the eyes similar to this. So I'm gonna find I need a smaller button. Yeah. So we're gonna put a button for the eye. And so I'm gonna put a small amount on this button and just apply it. You can also hold it down for a couple minutes or a couple seconds and then it'll firmly stay. And then it won't pop off. But I'm fairly confident it won't come off right now. I'm also going to be using a bead. Maybe I'll apply this bead. So if you're creating a warrior with me, let me know in the comments what type of materials you're using, or if you're using the same type of materials as me. And let me know what kind of warrior you're gonna create. Is it gonna create, or is it gonna represent how everyone's feeling, how you're feeling today? Is it going to represent a farmer like mine? Let me know in the comments what representation you're putting for your warrior. Okay, and then I have some pom-poms on my example, but instead of putting the yin-yang, I'm going to put this large blue one, and it's going to be right here for the tail. And so we're gonna be placing a good amount of glue here. That way we know it'll stick to the paper. And we're gonna be placing some glue on the pom-pom as well. Spread that out. Now for the pom-pom, if you're using pom-poms, you might wanna hold them down a little longer than the beads and buttons, because since it's a different type of soft material, it'll most likely try to reject the glue and it'll come off. So we're gonna firmly press it down for at least 5 seconds, and if you feel like you need to hold it down a little bit longer, that's totally fine. So I held that down. I think I'm going to start doing more lines and imagery that Max Vityk would incorporate into his pieces, but not exactly where he would incorporate a lot of soldiers, more where he created hearts and suns. And so I'm going to be using just the green to create all of my lines and imagery. as you can see that it's a good contrast color. So we have some hearts. We can start incorporating some flowers. And so my piece really is going to be more about the loving nature and hard workers that we have working in the fields. Some more flowers. We also, as I continue, I do want to thank the HEB again for our grant, for helping here and supporting what we're doing here today for this workshop. Also, we're going to be having a virtual Dia de los Muertos celebration on November 1st, and HEB is also supporting that workshop as well. It'll be live, I believe, if I'm correct. Yes, it'll be live. And then following that, or before that, we're also going to be having free admission on the October 28th through the 31st. So if you guys are bored from school, if you need a place to just relax and take a breather and explore new things and learn new things, you can come to IMAS actually, and we are more than welcome to help you learn new things. So we have our ambassador animals still in our biozone, and we have our galleries open. And I believe our ball python just finished shedding, so she is active and about. So really I'm just going along and just doing a bunch of shapes and symbolism. You can fill up the whole thing if you want to. Like this example, she has basically every inch filled, or you could leave it minimalistic, meaning you can leave it with the background almost empty. For today, I won't go into depth of creating a heavy background. More so, I want us to focus on the warrior. So we're gonna probably put like some lines within him. And these lines will represent the grass and the fields. We could also incorporate buttons if you'd like, or beads. If you don't have beads, maybe look around your house and see what other 3D smaller objects you have. Or if you don't have the beads or the buttons, you can tear up the pieces of paper and make them into little balls, and they can work just as fine as well. So we're gonna place some glue here as well, and then down.
So again, this is mixed media art. So you can use a variety of materials.
Mm-hmm.
Here we just have some beads, several beads. We have a nice collection of glitter and glitter glue, some pom-poms of different sizes, extra glitter, glue from the first step, buttons, some oil pastels, acrylic paint, and sequins, which are my favorite. I'm just gonna put these here close to you,
I
just
actually
in
forgot we had
case.
sequins, so I will be incorporating those. Our paint, we will be using it for much later. I think I'm just gonna add the sequins and then we'll go on to the paint. Oh, we actually have some stickers too. So we can incorporate stickers as well if you have glitter ones or normal ones. So really we're just trying to have this this piece be texturized and have 3D objects kind of pop out at you. So I'm gonna put this one over this flower. And then a purple one. Put it on this one up here. Now we have bottled sequins. These are what sequins look like. I call them flat beads. Just
Yeah.
using a couple of them.
Very nostalgic for me.
Mm-hmm. I used to use these a lot when I was a little girl in my art class where we would do arts and crafts. So I'm just going to be putting them around the horse. If you don't want a certain material to have any meaning, that's also okay. It can just be for aesthetic, meaning it can be pleasantly looking for your eyes or for the object that you're creating.
Again, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. So far, it looks like we have a lot of McAllen viewers.
Awesome.
And if you plan to do this in the future, or if you are working on this project currently, let us know what kinds of materials you would like to add to your mixed media work.
Mm-hmm. Just curious if anyone who is viewing this, are any of you guys teachers? And if you are, will you be incorporating this as a little activity for your kids? Because it's very relaxing, just creating and putting things together. It's more of a free form thinking type of drawing or piece that we're creating. We're not really thinking about it as much. The only thinking process that we're having is what symbology we're going to be putting into it.
Yeah, which is interesting because, again, this mixed media work is inspired by Max Vityk, again, an artist that we do have works displayed here at the IMAS. And a lot of his work was intended to, like Kristen said, free flow and kind of just allow your hands to move and create something that wasn't really, well, he made his work that wasn't really worried about the outcome. It was more of a surprise, and realizing that those elements of art are bound to happen and will show up, like Kristen's work here shows line work, texture, different colors, and that was something that he wanted to put into his work.
So I'm pretty much finished with incorporating 3D objects like our pom-poms, buttons, sequins, these little jewels here, some stickers, and glitter glue. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our acrylic paint. So I have with me black. You can use black or any other darker color that you have. So you could use a blue or a purple. Maybe you have brown, you can use brown. If you have white, that's totally cool too. It can give it more of a highlighted contrast on the image. So this is really going to serve its purpose as outlining what we've drawn. With me, I didn't put that much. I just put like a medium. And then I'm going to be using a small round brush. If you don't have a round brush, you can use a Q-tip. You can take off the cotton and use the edge of the Q-tip. So I'm going to be dipping it slightly, and then we're going to be just outlining things. So I'm not going to go on top of the oil pastel. I'm going to go around it, kind of creating this bubble effect. If you've read any comic books, some characters would have angry notices or effects going around them, and it's kind of like what we're going to be doing.
So if you're watching, let us know if you want Kristen to throw in a special symbol.
Yeah.
So far she has some sun, flowers, we've got a hat, an animal, and hearts. Oh, and your grass lines.
Mm-hmm.
Or special colors.
Yeah. Whatever you're incorporating, let me know, and then if you want me to incorporate that into mine, I can totally do that as well. So really, we're just accentuating our figure with these black lines. And if you saw in the book of Max Vityk, that's basically kind of what he does as well. He has a lot of acrylic paints within his works, and he just kind of goes around the image. So if you can't really tell where your object is or your outline of your original material is, you can go in with a paint, or if you don't have paint, you can go in with a marker or a pencil or a pen and just outline it, highlight it. If you want to go on the inside of your warrior too, you can do that. And then you can also go around your objects that you put down and outline those as well.
Here are some samples that we have from earlier if you would like some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
whether it be color, symbols, texture, or 3D objects.
Let me know if you guys did an animal too. And if you did, what kind of animal? Was it a chicken? Was it a horse? Was it a giraffe? There's a lot of meaning as well when you use a certain type of animal. Are they extinct or endangered? Are they close to becoming endangered? So the only thinking process would be symbology and why you're using them. Placement doesn't really matter in this context. What matters is what it means to you and how or what it's going to represent. So I outlined my mouth. I didn't really outline my eyes in my example, so I'm gonna do that with this one. If you don't want to outline a certain thing, you don't have to. You don't have to outline every little thing. Sometimes it looks good without an outline, or maybe it does need that outline. And you can also go in and create your own symbols with the paint as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be just outlining. Maybe you want to go on top of the pom-pom. Incorporate some black on there.
Again, if you're tuning in now, just now, we are celebrating the IMAS Day of Giving. We do have a goal today of 100 donations. You can visit our website, or you can give us a call if you have any questions. And you can also text IMAS Giving to 44321.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you'd like, we are accepting donations, whether it be $1, $25 or more. You can help us reach our goal of 100 donations today.
We do also have a silent auction today that you can find more information as well on our website.
All right. I think I'll do another outline on the sun. All right. And so really, let me know what kind of warrior did. Was it something that represented other people? Was it something that represented yourself? I actually gave my warrior a little boot. So I'm gonna highlight that or outline it, not highlight. Yeah, this is my warrior. Maybe I'll give my warrior an eyebrow. I'm going to be almost done. I feel like I should go back within an added color. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a pale brown. This is number 7. If you don't have this, it's okay. Really, I'm just going to quickly highlight the body of the horse. And this is just really going to tell me where exactly the outline of the horse is. That way it doesn't get muddy or lost in the background itself. All right. So this is what my warrior is looking like. I'm not gonna lift it entirely because I know that some pieces are loose and wet still. So this is what we created, or what I created. If you created the same piece, let me know. So basically, these pieces are all about symbology and the deeper meaning behind the uses of objects that you used, or not the objects, the symbols that you used. Like the flowers and the sun, what do they mean to you guys? The little leaves on the hat, the grass, the pom-poms. I mean, essentially the pom-pom was meant for the tail. And what type of animal you used, if you used any type of animal at all. Again, was that animal in any importance to you? Are they endangered? Are they close to being endangered, or are they extinct, or are they simply your favorite animal? But yeah, I really enjoyed today's workshop. It was very relaxing. I hope you guys create more pieces or start creating these pieces, because not only is it free-form thinking, you don't put any thought process to it. It's very, very relaxing. So if you need a break from school and work, just start creating your little warriors like Max Vityk. Again, we're gonna have our Papel Picado workshop on October 28th, and I'll be leading that as well. Again, we're gonna have 3 examples for the younger kids, the middle schoolers, and the high schoolers, because it does involve a lot of folding and cuttings. We are also gonna be having a virtual Dia de los Muertos workshop celebration on November 1st. And again, thank you HEB for the grants. This is helping us with these workshops and future workshops that we're going to be doing. So yeah, if you did create a warrior, please post them on Instagram and tag the IMAS artist hashtag, and we'll be able to see them. I hope you guys enjoyed this workshop. Bye.